Om Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jeevanam Kavibhiriditam Kalmashapaham Shravana Mangalam Srimadadatam Bhuvi Grinanti Ye Bhurida Janaha. All of you definitely know this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Gopika Geetam. Sri Krishna suddenly vanished. The gopis, they thought that, well, how long should we go? 8:30, okay. Whenever I ask this question of the organizers, I remember another joke. So please don't mind, because I keep on telling, because we are used to talking to the students all the time. My whole life I taught physics for 25 years. So when you have to talk to the students, you always should keep them in good humor all the time. So now and then you should give them some doses of teaching. So when I was in Bangkok some years ago, there was a conference of the presidents of the universities, the vice chancellors in India. The chancellor of Oxford University was there as the inauguration of the seminar. He began by saying the following: I went to an international conference and asked the audience, how long should I speak? They said in one voice, sir, you are such a learned person, you come from so far away. Please do speak as long as you can, as long as you like, but we are leaving after half an hour. So that's a very bad thing for a speaker to happen. And I always tell the speakers, the would-be speakers or the budding speakers, my younger junior Swamis, see what is the first task of a speaker? To keep the audience awake. People very often, when there's a heavy dose of spirituality, or some people talk in a monotonous tone, and you try to reach the speaker's thought, that creates a tension within you, and then you automatically become lulled by it as a lullaby. So the first thing, this is the story about another joke. I'll begin with that. Swami Sharadananda ji was a very great gentleman. Swamiji always told him, such a great gentleman, very gentle and very polished. Miss Josephine MacLeod, the famous disciple of Swamiji, who used to call herself not a disciple but a friend of Vivekananda. She always used to style himself like that. Every day, I think it was in London or in America, I don't remember. Swami, did you sleep well? Are you comfortable? So one day when Swami Sharadananda was lecturing, Miss Josephine MacLeod was sitting in the front row and then slept off. At the end of the lecture said, did you sleep well? So this is the style of Sri Ramakrishna in the Kathamrita. If you see in the Kathamrita, you will never feel that he is teaching you. He is full of jokes, he tells stories, and then he sings and he dances. We do all that except dancing. In the tradition of Ramakrishna Vivekananda, we tell jokes and etc., but we don't dance, of course. That means spiritual life is one of great joy. That's the idea. There's just the opposite of what was used to be practiced in Christianity in those days when Swami Vivekananda came here. And the Christian followers of Swamiji, and particularly the priests, the missionaries, always used to find it very strange that a spiritual person could joke and laugh. And Swamiji was reasonably fat like me. These two Swamis were very lean. I also used to be lean, but for various reasons, when you become old, slowly you put on weight. So the doctor should help me to reduce weight. There are many doctors here. If the doctors are women, they feed you and make you more fat. Swami Vivekananda used to be always full of fun. So one of the Christian missionaries became very upset, angry. Swami, you're always laughing and joking. Don't you ever feel sad? Said, I do, when I have a stomachache. Then he always used to say, we are the children of immortal bliss. We are Anandamaya. Why should always be weeping? So the Christian idea that a spiritual person should always be long-faced, always extremely worried, that Christ died on the cross, and with the crown of thorns and so on, that imagery is something totally different. But we seem to think a spiritual person should not be very fat, he should be lean and thin and emaciated, and he should never be funny. But in the Hindu tradition, the Sanatana Dharma tradition, Ananda is the source of everything. You can see in the Gospel, Master Mahashaya is M. Mahendranath Gupta. Master in Bengali means a teacher. He was a school teacher. And Mahashaya means a respected person. And in India, and particularly in Bengal, teachers are highly revered. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, etc. So a guru or a teacher, a preceptor, even a secular teacher is highly revered because you get knowledge from him. You must have heard of Professor Abdul Salam. He was a Pakistani-born Nobel laureate in physics. Of course, in those days, Lahore was part of India. When he came to India once, he went to Lahore, met his primary school mathematics teacher. So respectfully, he bowed down, "Sir, I got the Nobel Prize only because of you." That feeling for the teacher is very much prevalent in India. People will bow down to the teacher, respect the teacher. So Master Mahashaya was a very learned person and a teacher. And it is said that he had 3 MA degrees in those times. MA in philosophy, in English, and Bengali perhaps. So in those days, MA itself was very uncommon. Post-graduation was not usually done. And he had 3 MAs to boot. Once again, a small joke. There is one Bhava Pagla. He is a very famous saint in Bengal. He was in Kalna. Kalna was a place which has produced so many saints. In the Gospel you will find, in the Ramakrishna's life, there was one Bhagavan Das Babaji, who used to be in Kalna. He was a Vaishnava saint. He was the leader. So Ramakrishna went all the way to meet him. So this Bhava Pagla, he was absolutely illiterate like Sri Ramakrishna. He used to pour out so many poems like Ram Prasad. And he always was full of jokes, playing with words. They say one of the important signs of intelligence is that how we can pun on words. So punning on words is considered a very important sign of intelligence, which Ramakrishna was the most famous. You can see in the Gospel, if you read it in the original Bengali, you'll see the charm, how he used to pun on words. For example, when he met Vidyasagar is one of the outstanding scholars and philanthropists of those times. Sri Ramakrishna went to meet him, and you will see in the Gospel another peculiarity. Sri Ramakrishna used to go and meet people uninvited. Always we see people should invite me. And even if you invite by phone, people not said, "Oh, you didn't call me, you didn't tell me, you didn't send me a letter." Sri Ramakrishna was famous and notorious for going to people uninvited, entering into them, and then snubbing them all the way. Because he was an avatara doesn't need any invitation. He enters in your heart uninvited. All of us are sitting here. We didn't want Ramakrishna, but he entered in our hearts uninvited, and in a very subtle way he captures you. That's what he does. When he went to Vidyasagar, Sagara means ocean, Vidya is knowledge. Ocean of knowledge. So Ramakrishna is punning on the word. I have been meeting so many small canals and small rivulets. Now I am face to face with the ocean. Vidyasagar also was a great scholar. Oh, is that so? Take some salty water from here. Immediately Ramakrishna answered, why should it be salty water? You are not Avidyasagar. You are Vidyasagar, Kshira Samudra, you are the milk ocean. Vidyasagar couldn't proceed further. So like they say in the ping pong, in table tennis, one smashes, immediately you smash again. So Ramakrishna was a master of the play of words. Even Naren couldn't stand before him. In Bengali, the letter Saw is pronounced as Shaw. You know, there are 3 letters, Saw, Shaw, and Shaw. The dental, the retroflex, and the labial, what do you call it? Danta, the dental, that is danta. Then talubya is, they touch the, is a particular English word for that. Palatal. Saha in Sanskrit means to bear, forbear. Saha, sahan shakti, sahana shilata, etc. we say. So Ramakrishna is punning in the words. Saha is pronounced as Shaw. He says Bengali has 3 shaws. Do you know why? Shaw, shaw, shaw. That means forbear, forbear, forbear. Then he said, Je shoy, she roy, je nashoy, she nash hoy. He's punning on this word. A person who forbears, he lives. A person who does not forbear, he perishes. So this Bhavapagla was also a master in the play of words. Somebody said, he is a double MA. Oh, I'm terribly afraid of people who are double MAs. One MA is okay. Said, why? One MA is Ma. MA is Ma, the Divine Mother. But double MA is Mama. Babar Shala. He is the brother-in-law of the father. In Bengali, Shala is considered a slang word. If you want to scold somebody in a very mild way, Shala. It's nothing bad about it. I don't know why brothers-in-law are scolded. So this is how they used to play with words. See, in those days, Master Mashe having 3 MAs, coming to Sri Ramakrishna, you know the whole story. Master Mashe did not come to meet Ramakrishna. This is a very strange phenomenon, like all of us. We didn't come to seek Ramakrishna. We came to Beluru Math or we came to some other ashrama, just be charmed by the place. And some other friends is saying, if there is a bookstall, shall I take you? So many things happen. If you look at the lives of each one of us, if you look into ourselves, how strangely Ramakrishna draws you. Once you are drawn to him, you are caught. That's why I was in Vidyaman, there is a college there near Beluru Math. I was there teaching for nearly 3 decades. Young adolescent boys used to come to study. Innocent, simple, so pure. They'll go to the bookstall here and there and purchase a photo of Sri Ramakrishna and a few books. Then I used to tell Sri Ramakrishna, Thakur, one more gone. He cannot be again same anymore. If you take the picture of Ramakrishna, put some flowers and then bow down, you are caught forever. So Ramakrishna used to say, Jat Shaper come out. The cobra, when it stings you, once you are finished. But the water snake, it catches you, it can't leave you, it can't only digest you. So that is the power of the avatar. How imperceptibly, how subtly, how gently he enters into you as if he is so innocent, but he knows how to catch you. Swami Vijnanananda ji, he is a famous monastic disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. He used to call Sri Ramakrishna in Bengali, Kacha Kheko Devata, a person who eats raw flesh. Mother Kali's image is here. Mother Kali eats cooked meat, not raw meat. But here is an avatar sitting by his side, innocently smiling, who can simply gobble you just like that, swallow you without cooking you. All of us have been caught and cooked and eaten. That's our blessing. So Master Mashe became extremely depressed. This is one important thing we should understand in spiritual life. We come to spiritual life, we turn to God because we become terribly upset about something in the world. Arjuna also had this problem. It's called the Arjuna syndrome. Nowadays we talk about syndromes in medical science. What is the Arjuna syndrome? Arjuna syndrome is terribly depressed and he finds that I have to kill my dear and near ones, which I can't do. The first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, as you know, is called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. The Sanatana Dharma perhaps is the only religion which talks about Vishada as a yoga. Even sorrow. Have you ever heard of depression yoga? So many yogas are happening. But the Bhagavan Sri Krishna's Vyasa called it, what is the yoga we're practicing? In fact, it's the depression yoga. This is Vishada yoga. So from there, you ask about fundamental questions about life. What is life about? Why are we here? What is the destiny of human life? Is this all? So certain very serious questions arise in you. This happened to Valmiki. You know the story of Valmiki, the famous Adi Kavi, the first poet who wrote the Ramayana. He was a dacoit. You know the story. He was plundering people to keep his family happy. Then, I think it was Narada. Narada is a famous person who is everywhere in India. Wherever in the world, they put Narada is there. Narada knows how to manage things. He went, you are doing so much of sin. I am doing it for my family, for my children, for my wife. You please ask them whether they will share your sin because you are doing it for them. He went and asked them, I am doing so much for you. Well, no, why should we share your sin? You are doing it for you. He was wonderstruck. What is it I am doing for them, but they are denying this? Then they say, he shot at a bird, 2 birds, and felt deeply remorseful. Then suddenly he cried out, and somebody told him, sir, this is poetry. Shoka shlokatvamagata, that is a Sanskrit statement. Shoka is sorrow, shloka is poetry. Shoka actually turns into shloka. When you are deeply upset, suddenly something stirred up within you and you come out with your best. Swamiji's famous poem is called The Song of the Free. Now, Swamiji used to not write poems. In the course of a letter, he used to scribble something that became poetry later on. The wounded snake its hood unfurls. The desert air resounds the calls of the heart-struck lion's rage. The cloud pours forth a deluge of strength when lightning cleaves its breast. When the heart is stirred to its inmost depths, great ones unfold their best. So when your heart should be deeply stirred, you should be deeply upset about something. So if you are happy with life, then you can't come to spirituality. You come to spirituality when you are intensely unhappy, go through a period of tremendous suffering, then you come out more happy than you were earlier. Nobody has come to spiritual life with a bed of roses. Vivekananda pointed this out. Tremendous sacrifice is required. You have to cry and cry. Ramakrishna himself did that. In the gospel, you have so much of crying. An American boy with us for a couple of years, he said, Swami, why is there so much of crying here? The Americans don't like crying. You should always laugh. But the cry here means the deep internal spiritual cry which makes you deeply dissatisfied with what you have. So Swami Vivekananda's famous definition of religion. Religion arises from an intense dissatisfaction with your present state of affairs. Are you happy with your present state of affairs? Oh Swami, I am so happy. Goodbye, this is not for you. I'll meet you later. When you become intensely unhappy, you have everything in life. Not that you get shocks. See, there is a difference between waking up through shocks and waking up through a kind of response which your soul has towards what's happening outside. You say, I don't want it anymore. Bhagavan Shankaracharya, the famous commentator, the Bhashyakara, has a beautiful phrase in Sanskrit, alam pratyavan. Alam means enough. Enough, we say in English, enough is enough. I've had enough of it, no more. You have everything, but I don't feel satisfied. So the soul craves for something else. As Christ said, man does not live by bread alone, because there is something else beyond the physical need, the emotional need, the mental need, the intellectual needs. There is something which man craves for. Even the greatest of intellects of the world have been intensely unhappy. They have all the awards in the world, but intellect alone cannot make you happy. So this was discovered in India thousands of years ago, and that was why we turned inward. Vivekananda sadly says, perhaps we lost much outwardly. The entire country came to know that there is nothing to be sought after outside. That which is outside can't make you really happy. The moment they realized it, they sought something within, and they knocked at the inner door, and the door opened, and they found some treasures. They never looked back to the outside world. So hundreds of thousands of people for thousands of years have cultivated this inner life. Kings have given up their thrones. Poets have given up their poetry. Intellectuals have thrown away their books, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself did. So there is something which draws within you, And there's nothing in the world which is greater than the infinite treasure that you have within. So knock within and you get it. Christ also said this. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. See, look at the statement. He does not say push. We write here everywhere, push, pull. Christ said, don't push. Even pushing is an act which requires some strength. We are feeble human beings which have very little strength. The Avatara comes and says, you don't have to push, you knock. You tell the Avatar, I can't even knock, then what do? He opens the door for you even without knocking, but you don't have the joy of struggling. Swami Brahmananda, once one of his disciples went and told him, Sir, can you not give me the highest experience just like that by Sankalpa? He said, I can, but you will not feel the joy of struggle. You struggle for something and then get it, you know the value of it. Suddenly it comes to you, you don't know the value. So this Master Mahashaya, M, was very upset. In fact, it is said he wanted to end his life. See, this is something when people, very sensitive, intellectual people, when they are obsessed with some sorrow very deeply, they say that life has no purpose. All of us live because we feel life has a purpose. Now the great crisis which is happening, particularly in the Western countries, advanced countries, what is the purpose of life? They have everything, all the gadgets in the world. Look at the kind of gadgets and look at the automatic devices, the automated passport, the machines are there. Then somebody can say, Swami, this is not for you. You go here, this is exit. That's for somebody else, and then you put there. Everything is automatic. Now we have cars recently, which doesn't need drivers. I don't know what's going to happen to that car anyway, but people are driving that car. By remote control, somebody is driving it. I thought of an interesting joke. In the divine world, www.ramakrishnaloka.com, there is an advertisement. Wanted drivers, essential qualification should not know driving. You know what does it mean? The Lord says, I will drive for you, you simply be in that seat. Nimitta matram bhava savyasachan, the Bhagavan Sri Krishna says to Arjuna, is just be the nimitta, just be there, that's all. I will drive for you. So the Lord does everything, making it appear it is being done through you. But a person who knows driving, unfortunately, will try to manipulate the steering wheel, the clutch, etc., he'll get into accidents. So most of the greatest of achievers in this world were people who achieved unconsciously. Because somebody else achieved through them, and they allowed that supreme power to achieve through them. But if you think, I am going to achieve, then you can achieve very little, but after some time you can't achieve beyond a point. So Master Mahashaya was almost thinking of ending his life. There's an extreme case which happens to very, very sensitive souls. You remember the story of Emma Calvé? In Paris, Emma Calvé was one of the greatest celebrities, and she was an opera singer and a dancer. She was a great celebrity. As most of celebrities are, she is intensely unhappy. If you are less of a celebrity, you can be happy because your time is not yours. Everybody, the paparazzi is behind you all the time taking pictures. You can't sleep, you can't have your private time. They'll kill you with fame. So she became very depressed at one point of time. She didn't know how to come out of that depression. Depression is something, those of you have faced it, God forbid, please don't. May Ramakrishna keep you happy. You do not know how it kills you within. You can't share it with anybody. Nobody can really understand you. Suppose you tell somebody, oh, I'm feeling so sad. What is there to sad about? You have this, you have that. You just don't know. I'm feeling so terrible. Then you go to your psychiatrist. Swami Ashokananda used to funnily say, go to your psychiatrist, he disintegrates you, integrates you, reintegrates you, till you become a total psychological wreck. That's what he is paid for anyway. So he says, you think about yourself. It's not easy. So depression is something that it's a deep pit in which you fall and you can't really come out. This is where faith in God comes to you. Many people say, why should I have faith in God? If you want to be really sane in life, you have to have faith in something which is permanent. This is my take on this. Don't call it God, call it anything. If you think there's nothing in the world in which I have faith, you'll become mad. You think about this carefully. I don't believe in anything. I don't believe my parents, I don't believe my children, I don't believe my family, I don't believe my boss, I don't believe my company, I don't believe my job. Then you will really become mad. You have to have faith in something. If that something is constantly changing, once again you become sorrowful. Because today you believe this, tomorrow it's not there. So you have to have faith in something which is unchanging, which is permanent in time and space, so that you can always fall back upon something. So when you're deeply sorrowful, you fall back upon it. When you see children, when they are very unhappy, they have only one simple, they go back to the mother and cry. And sometimes you can see children, they'll start playing and then they fall down, have an injury. It's painful, they'll come laughing. The moment they see the mother start crying. Have you seen that? That means they know there is somebody in whose bosom I can simply shed tears and she will understand me. In exactly the same way, you think of some divine being, some being in which you have some faith, even it be imagination. People say it's only imagination. Everything in the world is imagination. Our body is also in imagination. The whole world is in imagination. Why don't you have some good imagination so that you can be sane? Yama Khalve was told by somebody, there is one great Indian yogi by name Swami Atmapriyananda who is here. You can go and talk to him. So he made an appointment. Swamiji was in his study writing something. The moment she entered, Vivekananda did not even raise his look. He's just writing something without even raising his head. He said, "Oh, my child, what a terrible atmosphere you have brought with you. Calm down, calm down. A storm is raging within you." She came and sat down in his front. Swamiji looked at her and told her some of the deeper-most secrets which she had not shared with anybody. She became frightened and flabbergasted. "Swami, how could you know all this? Did anybody talk to you about me?" Swamiji smiled and said, "Is it necessary? I can read you like an open book." Then Swamiji gave her a powerful Vedantic impulse that you are not a small little entity. Don't think you are a small little being. Don't think you are the mind and the body. You are that infinite being, Nityamukta Swabhava, ever awakened, ever pure, ever free. Assert your real nature. You are full of bliss, Anandamaya. That the impulse of that great yogi went straight into her heart and she got slowly changed even within moments. But the impulse is too strong. Vivekananda's Vedantic bombs were so powerful. He used to say to Nivedita, "Today I'm going to throw a few bombs." People you couldn't bear. Many of them used to leave the hall. Swamiji says, he laughs and says, "Oh, in the West I have emptied halls." You can't bear. There is a talk about who is the greatest Indian yogi who has come to the US among some disciples. Everybody was mentioning Swami's name, nobody mentioned Vivekananda's name. Then one of the disciples said, "But what about Vivekananda? Don't you think he is the greatest?" Everybody said, "Yes, we know he is the greatest, but we dare not mention him. He overwhelms me." A person overwhelms you, you are very careful with him. You go from a distance and put some flowers, don't go near him. So this lady became so thoroughly overwhelmed, she started losing her individuality. Exactly the experience which Naren himself protested with Ramakrishna, he used to give that experience to everybody later. Then she cried, "Swami, what are you doing to me? I'm losing myself." See, when I goes away, you feel your whole world is gone. The world is tumbling into your feet and you are nobody anymore. The entire celebrity is based on the feeling, I am somebody. And I am somebody very special in society. When that is taken away, it is blasted. Then you feel, what's happening to me? Then Swamiji used to always make fun of the Westerners. You Westerners so terribly afraid of losing your individuality, making fun. Then Swamiji said, you are not individuals anymore. You will be when you become universal. Then told her a story, very interesting story. A water drop was falling into the ocean. The drop was crying bitterly. The ocean said, my child, why are you crying? Oh, I am going to lose my individuality as the drop. The ocean smiled and said, my child, you are not going to lose your individuality as a drop. You are going to regain your individuality as the ocean. You were the ocean, you were with me. The sun's rays took you up. And now you are coming back to my bosom to join your billions and trillions of water drops like you. That was the powerful impulse. So most of the celebrities and the very famous intellectuals, they always are intensely unhappy, which happened to Master Marshaya. So one of his friends, Sidhu, just to divert his attention, he said, why don't you come with me? Where there is a beautiful garden house of Rani Rashmani in the bank of the Ganges. Manoram Sthan, it is in the Bengali. It's such a beautiful place, so pleasant and so charming. Why don't you come with me? So Master Marshaya comes and moves around. I said, what a wonderful place. It's so charming. Then I said, there is one Paramahamsa is living here. Would you care to meet him? So you see how uninvitedly, unconsciously he is being drawn to the avatar. He came to end his life terrible depression. He came to look around and see this beautiful garden and the river. And then suddenly somebody puts a thought into him. Would you care to meet that Paramahamsa? I said, all right, let me go and see. Intellectual. Intellect is such a terrible demon. Those who are intellectuals, those who know how it keeps nagging you out all the time. You should study this, you should study that, you should interpret this, write so many books, you should outwit others in the argument. All the intellectuals have suffered because of that. In fact, Swamiji once said, how I hate this intellect. How I wish I get a medicine by which I can simply forget all that I have studied. Then one of the disciples said, but Swami, this is what we admire you for. Swamiji smiled and said, that's because, madam, you are a stupid fool as I am. This intellect after some time becomes a terrible burden. And you think you can go to God through that, you can't. Then this great intellectual of the Calcutta, the proud man, enters Ramakrishna's room. They look at the setting. Even if you meditate on one of those, you will get mukti. See, the Gospel of Ramakrishna is a book which has created innumerable hundreds of thousands of themes with the avatar as the center, meditating in any one of which the doors of heaven will be open to you. This is the statement by in the Bhagavatam. I am not mentioning this. There's a discussion in the Bhagavatam. What is the purpose of an avatara? Why did the avatara come? You know the famous statement of the Gita, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkatam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. To destroy evil and to promote good in society, I come again and again. And I assume a divine body, although a mortal body, out of my own inscrutable power called Maya. That's the statement of the Gita. So many people say so many things. Somebody said, the avatara comes for a special purpose. The avatara comes, there is a Puranas say, when the population of the earth become too much, then the Bhudevi, the mother who is in charge of holding the earth, goes and cries to Brahma, I can't bear this anymore, please do something. The avatara comes so that it destroys so many people, the population. It's a very negative way of putting it. But you know, there's a famous economic theory, or Maharaj will know, the Malthusian theory of population, it is called. It is a very primitive theory in those days. Malthus was actually a priest, Christian priest. He said, when the population becomes too much, some great calamity, earthquake and tsunami, they come and then it takes away large population. So many theories are there why the avatara comes. Kunti Devi, you must have heard of Kunti. Kunti was the mother of these Pandavas. She was a great jnani, but very few statements are found. One famous statement which is common Kunti Devi prayed that she should be always in sorrow. What do we normally pray for? Oh Lord, keep me happy, keep my children happy, let the whole world be happy, sarve bhavantu sukhina, etc. Here is a peculiar lady, spiritual lady, who says, oh Lord, keep me always in sorrow. Why? If I am happy, I may forget you. Sukh mein, dukh mein samiran shubh kare, dukh mein kare na koi. Kabir Das, the famous poet, says, when somebody is in deep sorrow, he always calls on God. Somebody is joyful, he never cares for God. So keep me in sorrow. Now and then you get a knock on the head, then you say, oh God, what are you doing to me? Like children playing around. They're so happy, but when they get some knocks and blows, we wake up. But intelligent people, I hope we are reasonably intelligent, not those spiritually intelligent, they wake up before the shock treatment of nature begins. Nature has its own shock treatment. Many people come and ask me, what is there? Suppose I don't care for God. Suppose, no, it's okay, don't worry. Nature will wake you up. A time will come that you will face with such a calamity for which you have no answer. Then you say, sir, shall I go to Belur Mat? So it's better to wake up before the nature's shock treatment begins. So this intellectual went there and then entered this room and found that Ramakrishna is talking to some people. Look at the sensitivity, spiritual sensibility of this great man. He was the Parshada of the Avatar. He is a bossful. He is a recorder of the gospel, of the Kathamrita, the nectarine words of Ramakrishna. He said, it's as if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the great Avatar, is sitting there and talking to his disciples. Sarva tirthir shamagan hoyeche. It's as if all the various tirthas and the holy places have come and conjoined in one place. So Ramakrishna was saying, the first statement of the gospel, which is most profound, on which books after books could be written. Ki Harinam, ki Ramnam, Uchcharan Matrui, Jodi Romancho hoy, Ashrupat hoy, takon janibe, ar karma korte hoy na. The moment you utter the name of God, tears flow down your cheeks and horripilation occurs, then you know that you don't have to do karma or work anymore. Next statement is more significant. Karma apna apni tyag hoye jaye. Karma drops down of itself. This is very significant. Very often people say, oh, I have done enough of work, I want to have voluntary retirement and serve society, serve this, etc. Don't cut away from work of an egoistic impulse. I want to give up work, say. The person who is trying to give up work is also a person who is very active, because very active in giving up. Karmanya karma yapashyed, akarmana karma, and the Bhagavad Gita says, a person who has the egoistic feeling that I shall not work becomes the karta of not doing work. So don't be an agent, let Lord take care. So he says, when you come to a stage, the Lord himself will take work away from you. It's Ramakrishna's beautiful statement in the gospel. When the daughter-in-law is in the family way, the mother-in-law will reduce the work of the daughter-in-law. The mother-in-law is God. In the Bhagavad Gita, so many relations are talked about. Gatir bharta prabhu sakshi nivasa sharanam surat prabhava pralayasthanam nidhanam bijam avyayam pitamasya jagato mata dhata pitamaha. I am the father, I am the mother, I am the grandfather, pitamaha. But nowhere in the scriptures we found God the mother-in-law. He is the only place in the gospel. He says God is also the mother-in-law, and the mother-in-law reduces your work because you are fit for it. And when the child is born, then the daughter-in-law has nothing to do except to take care of the child. That means when the spiritual impulse grows within you, or the spiritual aspiration, as a small little flame it is kindled within you, slowly it becomes a conflagration. A time comes when you just can't do it anymore. Then the Lord says, you have done enough work, now I withdraw you from work. When the realization is full blast, you are simply absorbed in the realization. What happened to Sri Ramakrishna? He began his life as a pujari in the Kali temple, as a worshipper. After some time, he couldn't do puja at all. Not that he didn't want to do, but he just couldn't do. He had so much of reverence for his father. When his father passed away, a great change came over Gadadhar. They must have definitely read his life. He was a happy-go-lucky boy, moving around everywhere and singing songs and dancing. And he used to say, I never used to visit any place where there was some sorrow. Somebody is unhappy, I will not go there. I always used to like to be happy. Suddenly his father died. He said, what? What is death? What is going to happen after death? What is the purpose of human life? The huge change came over the little child. Thereafter he used to go to visit the cremation grounds. He used to meditate for long hours. See how daring this boy was. Even all of us are afraid to go to the cremation ground in the nights. This little boy goes to the cremation ground in Kamarpakor, his birthplace. And his elder brother used to come and said, brother, you walk away, this ghost will trouble you, as if they are not troubling him. The courage of conviction of the person, if there is anything true, I have to see it and realize it. And if it is not true, this life has no meaning. This is the two statements was made by Swami Atmapriyananda to Nivedita. If this is true, what else matters? If this is not true, what do our lives matter? What is the purpose of human life if the spiritual truths are not true? If they are true, nothing else matters. If they are not true, what do our lives matter? So he pursued the spiritual path. He could not do. Then he wanted to do tarpana. Tarpana is, they do for the benefit of the forefathers. In Hindu, it's very common. Forefathers are somewhere, you do not know where. Pinda and Udaka. Pinda means some rice balls and some water, they say. They are called the Shraddha ceremony. So Ramakrishna wanted to perform with great devotion for his father. He took some water. He could not even hold it in the palm of his hand. It simply dropped away. Then he cried and cried, oh, I am unable to do. Then somebody told him, this is referred to in the scriptures, Galita Hasta. Galita Hasta means water simply flows away. You can't hold it. The idea that it holds something, that idea goes away. Sri Ramakrishna could not tie a knot, do you know? So most of the time his dhoti will simply fall away. Because tying a knot means you get bound. He could not carry anything. Although he had, whenever he used to go out, he has a beautiful coat. There used to be pockets also in the coat, but he couldn't carry anything. If he carries something, immediately something happened within him that he will not be able to walk. So the idea that God is the only person on whom he should depend for everything, so it became so deep within him that he couldn't do anything else. So when you think of God or chant his name, and simply you're transported to a different realm. That's what it means. Horripilation and tears. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu records this. Nayanam galadashrudharaya vadanam gadgadarudhaya gira pulakair nichidam vabukkada tavanamagrahane bhavishyati. It is chanted every day in this center, as you know. Christopher Aishwar's translation. So whenever I take your name, O Lord, when will that day come when tears will flow through my eyes and I get horripilation all over the body and I forget the whole world? When is that day going to come? So the first statement in the gospel, when you chant the name of God and tears come to you and then horripilation all over the body, then know that you can't do work anymore. Work drops away by itself without any sankalpa. This is the most vital. The entire Ramakrishna's gospel, you will see, the whole idea is don't do anything with your own egoistic sankalpa. Sankalpa means a resolve. I shall do this. I shall not do this. It's called sankalpa. And the entire kama, desire, comes from sankalpa. Sankalpa prabhavan kaman stektva sarvan aseshata. In the Bhagavad Gita, sankalpa prabhavan, all the desires come from sankalpa. And then Shankaracharya quotes a verse from the Mahabharata in this context. Kama janami te moolam sankalpatvam prabhavasi. O Kama, desire, I know. What is your source? You come from sankalpa. Tasmat na sankalpayishyami. So I will not resolve anymore. So the entire gospel, Ramakrishna's idea is, God is the only doer, He is the only karta, He is the only Prabhu, He is the only Sakshi. He is the supreme reality. Naham, naham, tuhu, tuhu. You are the supreme, I am nobody. I am the chariot and you are the charioteer. You know the famous song, Shakali Tomari Ichha, etc. And I am the instrument and you are the operator. So this idea of self-effacement through bhakti culminating in Sharanagati. If you read the gospel, this seems to be the entire trend of the whole of gospel. Repeatedly you see, I am nobody. 3 words Ramakrishna could not tolerate. One is the Guru, Karta and Baba. Baba means a father, Guru is a teacher, and Karta was a person who is a doer, who is the agency. So as a fun would have it, the Divine Mother made him Guru Maharaj. So whenever you say, because Divine Mother smiled and said, you fellow, you don't want the Guru, I will make you Guru Maharaj for the whole of your life. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji ki jai. That was because he could never consider himself as a teacher. And you know in the gospel it is repeatedly mentioned, Sri Ramakrishna could never use the word I and mine. In Bengali, Ami evang Amar. In Sanskrit, Aham Mama. He always used to refer to himself as this place, Ekhane, Ekhankar. Ekhane, this place means Aham. So I have a very funny thinking on this. As usually, I try to think out of the box from some funny thinking. It keeps spiritual life very humorous. I asked Ramakrishna, so why did you not use this I anywhere? You're so allergic to it. Are you do not know, when I came as Sri Krishna, so many times he used I. If you look at the Bhagavad Gita, just the word index you see, Aham, Mama, you know the Asmat Shabda, Aham is the first person, and Mam, second, third is by me, Maya, fourth, Makhyam, me, fifth, Asma, so Matta, then sixth is Mama, seventh is Mai. Now look at the gospel, the Bhagavad Gita, and the word index, see how many hundred, the number of times these are used, there should be at least 10 times the number of verses in the whole Bhagavad Gita. Mayyeva manatatsva, mayi buddhim niveshaya, nivesashya mayyeva, ta urdhvam nasamshaya, aham sarvasya prabho, mattas sarvam pravartate, etc. So I asked Ramakrishna, why did you avoid that? I'm tired of using that, so this time for a change I said, give up the whole thing. So it is not that the words that you use, the feeling within that God is doing everything. Why should the moment you use the word I, something happens within you by which you get caught. So Ramakrishna's whole thing is, the entire idea of mukti or liberation is simply to get rid of the little ego. When this Swami Vivekananda calls it puny ego. This little ego thinks I am so and so, I am this. But I cannot stand alone. I has to be related to something to be able to survive. So the relation is called Sambandhe Shashti, so it's called Mama. So in the Bhagavad Gita and the Gospel, the fundamental tone is Ahankara and Mamakara. Nirmamo nirahankarasya shantimadhigacchati adveshta sarvabhutana maitra karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankarasya madukka sukhakshami. 12th chapter. Ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodham parigraham vimuccha nirmama shanto brahmabhoyaya kalpate. 18th chapter. Everywhere in the Gospel repeatedly, the Upadesha, first instruction to Master Maharshaya. Master Maharshaya says we should now teach these people the Calcutta. You know the whole story. We should tell people when they are worshipping this God in the image and the stone, etc. We should teach people that they are not worshipping the stone or the wood. They are actually worshipping the God within. Then he snubs him severely. So this is one problem with the Calcutta people. Calcutta people means Hollywood people and New York people, everybody included. That means so-called intellectual, educated people like us. We want to teach others what they should do, but we don't look at ourselves. Then Master Maharshaya says, this is the first snubbing, second snubbing, third snubbing. He said, never, no more. And so touchingly he says, still his ego was not fully crushed, so started beginning to argue with the master. Finally, when he got the final blow, this was M's first argument with the master, and Nikhilanja's translation is so beautiful, and happily he is last. In the entire Gospel, you will never see M speaking at all. Sometimes when he wanted to speak, he used to tell somebody in a very low tone, and they used to be amplified. When he was one-on-one with Ramakrishna, at that time he spoke so many things, this is also recorded. That means before the overwhelming, the majesty of the avatara, don't speak, keep quiet. Make your mind quiet, make your ego completely subdued, and then to receive. This is Ramakrishna's fundamental teaching. When the I and the mind are completely smashed, obliterated, destroyed, burnt, then replaced by the Supreme Reality, then you get infinite bliss. Swami Vivekananda said about Kali, because Kali's image is here, he has a famous poem, Nachuku tahate Shama, let the mother Shama dance there. He ends it by saying, Churno ho kshartha sadhaman, hriday shmashan, Nachuk tahate Shama. Let little self, the I, and your littleness, your clinging to this littleness, let it all go, be smashed, pounded, destroyed and burnt, and let the heart become a cremation ground, and let Mother Shama dance her rapturous dance in this cremation ground. Thank you.